and do it well. Let me observe myself doing it. Let me observe this relationship and start to work with the relationship of it. You see, all addictive patterns come from your relationship to something. Okay, it's simply a relationship. And whatever that a relationship, if it's like negative, well, then every time you do it, you're putting negativity into you. But if it's like, you can transmute that into a more positive relationship. And by observing how that relationship plays out, by observing yourself eating, you know what, I'm hungry, it's late, I want to eat some sugar, I'm going to eat some sugar. Like, nah, that's okay, fuck it, whatever. Alchemy is not about hard endings, stopping nor resisting. Let your impulses fly, like let them go. But what we can do is actually start to reorganize our energies at a deeper level so that our impulses begin to transform. This is what alchemy is. It doesn't use force, it uses power. Okay. So by observing that relationship and then like letting it happen, but at the same time, like while we're doing it, deeply observing ourselves do it. The more we can self-remember, you see, addictions come from this place where we're not actually in touch with ourselves. We're not self-remembered. We're just like in this little ego consciousness drifting through our day. But if we can take a few deep breaths and self-remember, like, oh yeah, it's the awareness of being. That's so beautiful. That helps a lot, that awareness. Step 3 that I'd like love to get into here, and really the key and why I made this whole manifestation masterclass, is that progress towards a worthy goal is the fastest way to break resistance in all forms of life. Get this. So here is a document I have written up on repatterning resistance. It's one of like the main things I've worked on. And making progress towards a worthy goal is kind of like where we start. Resistance is the opposite force of the pull towards your higher self or highest calling. So when we're refusing to do what is meant to be done or do that which we're called to do, we are not living from the deepest self, and therefore we are falling to resistance. And resistance has many faces: procrastination, escapism, distraction, drifting, addiction, laziness are all signs of resistance happening. And resistance is simply not doing that which is in alignment with your nature. You see, instead of resisting an addictive pattern, it's about finding, oh, I have energy here that's not being connected or used in the way it wants to be used. Therefore, it feels like a stagnant void that I want to fill. Let's say like I'm actually in my nature deeply social, but after I woke up, you know, I didn't have many people or community around me to socialize with. And that's when I picked up smoking, you know? And once I realized this, and I realized it's not about fighting the addiction, but creating a new connection and like finding ways to be social and create community, the less I wanted to smoke. By figuring out how to connect that stream of energy to your natural way of being lets the resistance fall away. And furthermore, getting back to the worthy goal piece, like, you know, I still use tobacco till this day. I enjoy tobacco a lot, and I enjoy like tobacco ceremonies, just to be brutally honest, you know.
Thank you.
And I'm not perfect here, but I've found that, like, you know, especially in the past when this was a bigger issue for me, that when I wasn't doing what I was called to do, let's say I was like called to like really work on something or create something. Let's say I was called to like have a good chat with, like, you know, a conversation with old friends or a new client or something, but I'm like avoiding it. I'm avoiding what I know I should be doing right now. I'm not acting on what I know I should be done at once. Well, then I'm procrastinating, and that procrastination immediately led to just like more smoking, more eating. When we procrastinate on moving towards our goal, all of a sudden we're stagnating. We're getting deeper into these cycles. And here's the thing: to break cycles is to change your energy towards life. When we change our relationship to life and living, we change the way we move in the world and through our day. So like now I'm in this place where I'm seeing the progress happening. I'm loving what I do. I love working with people, although there's still resistance. It's still hard. Every single day, resistance doesn't end. But having that progress and that forward momentum, right? And these new like capacities inside myself to do what needs to be done and do it at once. All of a sudden I see smoking falling from my life, because I see it was literally there because I I was avoiding what I was meant to be doing. Therefore, I was finding some way to fill the void that was creating. If I'm meant to be going to the gym, if I'm meant to be creating something, but I'm not creating, then I'm probably going to be eating or smoking or engaging in distraction and toxic behavior. So create a new connection or reconnect to a deeper purpose, and addictions and addictive patterns will fall out of your life. And then, you know, I talked about probably the main thing when it comes to repatterning resistance and repatterning addiction is imagining how you are. Imagine and the intention of how you are being in the action, of how you are being in the day, of how you are when you get to the gym, of how you are when you're creating, and then practicing how you are in this moment. Addictive patterns and resistance is in the mind. When we let the mind deceive us, all of a sudden we lose the ability to do what our deep self wants and desires. Because the mind's saying like, oh, I don't really want to create. And the soul's like screaming like, fuck yeah, I want to create and serve. When the mind's like, you know what, I just want to like scroll through Instagram. But the soul's like, dude, I want to fucking commune with nature right now. Like, by practicing how we are in every moment, the mind's chatter doesn't overwhelm us because we realize it's about the state of beingness in which we're in. When we're like, not just like far off thinking when we're washing dishes, but we're washing dishes and kind of moving in our body. You know, when we're like, you know, writing and we're not just like thinking and writing in this far off land, but like breathing while we're doing it. We're practicing how we are. The mind isn't so separated from the body. When the mind isn't so separated from the body, the conscious and subconscious minds have more harmony. When there's more harmony, there's less separations. Addiction and resistance fill the fractures in the being, if that makes sense. So those are some of the keys about repatterning resistance. The only other thing that we could get into is the meditations and breath work and contemplation exercises with that, but that's for another time. That's for another class.